Hello and welcome to World Talks here on TVP World. I'm your host, Marie Kato. Dreams and Hope in an Uncertain World. This is the title of the new research from the PZU Foundation, revealing that almost 94% of Poles, regardless of age, background or location, are united by a complex mix of hopes, dreams and fears. To discuss what these findings tell us about the Polish soul and social resilience, we welcome Maia Mazurkiewicz, chairwoman of the management board of the PZU Foundation. Hello, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
So let's begin with inspirations. What inspired you to create this report about dreams and inspirations in Poland? Was there a particular social moment or cultural moment that made you feel that this topic is important right now?
Well, we're looking what is happening right now in the world, right? And as you said, we are living in uncertain times where the fears and threats are very much the emotions that are leading our society. And it's today when we are building our future. And that's why I was wondering if something about dreams is not giving us hope. I wanted to kind of change a perspective of Poles, not focusing solely on fears and threats, but really looking forward with hope. And that's what the report is very much saying. It's showing that the hope is the most important emotion that the dreams are giving us.
And if you were to summarize the main findings of both men and women here in Poland, what would you tell us?
Well, we are looking forward and dreaming about the simple life. And I think that's very, very hopeful. I guess also when we were getting the report for the very first time, we were wondering if there's going to be a dream of, going to the moon. And there's not many of them. It's rather about really having a good life that is calm, a good life that is healthy, a good life that is rooted in relationships and rooted in good, stable life in terms of the safety of every single person.
But in terms of a simple life, I think that's something that a lot of people hope for, they aspire to, but I think it's something that, forgive me for saying this, we actually fail at because our lives are just so rushed. There's just so much on our plate. There's so much that we worry about. We do so much. So it's quite hard to actually acquire that simple life.
Exactly. And with the In Future Institute that made the research, we were also wondering how to actually discuss with Poles if they will be willing to reveal their dreams, right? Because of the fears and threats that exactly you are saying, there's quite a lot of them as well. So we've been also asking about those fears, and we are seeing that it's like a mirror, that our dreams are very much mirroring what we fear of, and especially fear of losing.
What are people afraid of?
People are afraid of losing health. They're afraid of war. It's not that much as we thought that it will be there, but it's there. They are afraid of perma-crisis, so they see that this uncertainty that is fueled also with disinformation and everything that we are seeing in the social media, in the media, fueling our fears, that's something that we are seeing in there. And they are also feeling, we also looked at it from the two perspectives. So one thing that is quantitative research, saying what people are afraid of here and now, but the other thing we were also looking what are the fears and dreams of Poles for the future.
And what do they dream of for the future?
And for the future, they dream of, it's very interesting, so they dream of the community. And I think that in the times when, especially in Poland, we are very much polarized society that is also fueled, again, by disinformation, by influence operations, by various threats that we are seeing, we're very much longing for this community. We're longing for the relationships, and those relationships that we are seeing in this report are the ones that are very much close relationships. And it's interesting because since we started to do the report, I've been talking with people and asking them a question: what is your dream? And that is a question that is very opening. And at the same time, researchers said that in the discussions with people that they were doing the research with, there was certain uncertainty that people were saying that they are not really talking about it with their close ones. So I would say that that's a very important dream, but they're also dreaming about coming back to the past. So it's a kind of longing for something that already was calm, right? So it's in the times, as you also said, that we are living in the times that everything is rushed and everything, we need to be better in everything. We have so much information coming in our, information space. We're very much looking forward to have this calmness that was there. But another thing that is also important is that we are dreaming about having sort of control on our life.
And what about the differences between men and women? Did they share different dreams, different fears?
I think that the dreams very much something that is that are connecting us, and that's important. But we see that men are dreaming a bit less than women. So
Do they want less?
They're dreaming less. So they are saying that they are dreaming less than women. So they are sort of not.
So what does that mean?
Dreams are more for female side.
Do they aspire for less?
They aspire. They are not dreaming too much, and that's also something interesting, right? That certain people were also saying that they are not dreaming, but of course 94% of Poles do. So it's not that much of a dream. But yeah, it's sort of that they are more putting it as the goals, although the society in general in Poland are thinking that the dreams are something that is giving them motivation. So there are goals. And what is also interesting, and I think very important in those times of uncertainty that we're having right now, that we're living in, is that is giving a sense of life.
Well, you say sense of life, and you mentioned community, and people feel lonely. And I wanted to ask whether we should ask about this idea of do people want to have families? Because we have a demographic crisis at the moment. People who originally aimed for 2 children actually settled for 1. And we see that those incentives that come from the government in terms of money didn't actually work. And I read an interesting article in The Guardian, and research actually shows that people are lonely, that they are unable to connect. People are simply scrolling, they go into therapy, they set themselves these strange boundaries, and essentially they are unable to connect, and that's why we don't have families, we don't have children. Did anybody mention anything about that? Women, you say, dream more.
But everyone are dreaming about relationships and love and family. And we can see actually what, in terms of what you're saying, is very hopeful, is that young people, 18 to 24, they are very much longing and dreaming about love and relationships and about family and relationships, right? We have those kind of 2 questions. And together, if you add both of them in this youngest group, you can see that it's basically 40% of young people that are dreaming about it. So it's the biggest amount of this relationship longing and dreaming. So I think that we might be a bit hopeful. And also a big fear is about dehumanization, right? So people are seeing, and that's also related in the different groups, they are afraid of AI and new technology. They are not understanding how it can support them, but rather seeing that it can take out of them more those kind of relationships and belonging. And this feeling of the belonging and community is something that we all dream of.
Do you have a sense that Poles are capable of thinking big and taking risks?
Well, I think that basically Poland, as it is right now, is based on dreams, right? We're having a lot of dreams of what we want. We wanted to be in the European Union, we wanted to be in the NATO. And those are the things that we dreamed about in the 80s and 90s, and we are living this dream already. So I think that right now, what we really want to go forward is to aspire more Poles to dream, not only dream about their own life, and but rather like also how to dream about Poland in the future and how to make those dreams come true.
And your report also mentions that dreams reflect our anxieties. How do you think that fear and hope coexist with the Polish imagination? Do you think that Poland's past, Poland's history has had an impact on that?
I'm sure it does, and it's both the history that we are having, because a lot of fears and vulnerabilities, also in terms of having a time of influence operations right now, right? Russia knows vulnerabilities of Poles, and many of them are coming from our past. So obviously, if they're being used in different influence operations, so in different social media, right? We are going into the social media, seeing those threats, anxieties, they are making them even bigger, and we are not having a time to dream, right? Because having a time to dream is also having a time for yourself. Because
self-care.
It's a self-care, right? It's hard to dream when you're all the time rushing and doing things.
Bombarded.
But if you can take half an hour for yourself, put away your phone, you can really understand what is your dream.
And also, just as we wrap up, do you think that Poles are different in terms of their dreams and hopes to other European nations or even our regional neighbours?
I would love to know that. I was actually having a conversation with the Harvard University about the research before we did that, and they were saying that they don't know research like this. So I wonder if it is the case. We were checking different research also in the other European countries, but I very much think that it's something that is very human. That right now, in the times of the anxiety and the uncertainty, we're dreaming about this calmness and peace, inner peace in ourselves as well. I think that this kind of human factor, not only very much Polish factor, but I would love to check that.
Absolutely, and I think the conclusion is that really our future and the political scene should really be built on hope and not from fears.
Very much so.
Okay.
Let's hope for that.
Absolutely. So Maia Mazurkiewicz, Chairwoman of the Management Board at the PZU Foundation. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
And that's all for this edition of World Talks. Thank you so much for being with us, and stay tuned for much more on TVP World. Goodbye.